What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Adventure Outpost, your place for all things movie related. Another weekend has come and gone. It is once again time for us to talk those juicy box office numbers, and it was an absolute stellar week, and we have so much good stuff to dive into. Now, I will say, of the caveat, please excuse my voice. I am knee deep in an awful cold. I've just come back from a Florida vacation, went down to Disney with my brother for his birthday. And now that I've come back, I brought myself a little cold with it. I am absolutely dying. I've got the works, sore throat, runny nose, just the headache that feels like a bowl of cement. I am dying. So this is going to be a clipped one. We're not going to go as hard as we usually go into this simply because my voice does not have as much in the tank. My body does not have as much in the tank. I am held together by drugs right now. But I wanted to come out here and I wanted to talk at least about the box office for the weekend because it was a stellar weekend. It was absolutely one of the ones for the books. It was the best weekend so far in 2023, and it is the third best weekend, at least as far as AMC goes, since the pandemic. It was their third best weekend behind Avatar and behind Spider-Man No Way Home. So this was an absolutely huge weekend. So we had a lot of stuff to go into, and I wanted to come out and at least dive in to all that good stuff as well as I can. And then hopefully by next week, we're back to 100% again. But I'm going to try and power through for you guys because I do love coming on here and talking those great box office numbers. But quickly before we dive into it, as always, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. It's how we help this pod. It's how I can't see. You already see it. I'm already dying. It's how we help this channel grow. We're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive into all that good stuff. And like I said, this was the best weekend so far for 2023. And as always, we'll start with our 2023 box office chart week over week. We take a look at it super quickly. And as if you can see right here, week 14, we were up 120.3% over the previous week. We managed to do $202 million in the top 10 for this weekend. Not only is that the best weekend for 2023, but it is our first weekend over 200 million. So that is an absolutely stellar achievement right there in and of itself. It is buoyant by absolutely the huge performance by Super Mario Brothers and also by some really good holdover titles and an absolutely really solid debut from the Ben Affleck directed movie Air about Michael Jordan. So this was a fantastic weekend at the box office. It helped that Passover and Easter were all right on top of each other. So you have about a week and a half, 2 weeks of people that all have off around the same time for spring break. So it was just a perfect storm for these movies and for this weekend to be an absolutely huge weekend here at the box office. So now let's dive into the top 10 and take a look and see just how well it did. And it was absolutely no surprise looking here in the top 10 that we expected Super Mario Brothers to be the number one movie of the weekend. What we didn't expect it was to be the number one domestic movie of the year so far for at least the weekend. It's not the number one movie as far as box office totals yet, but it had the best weekend overall so far of a movie this year, beating what the record holder was, which was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But Super Mario Brothers debuts in number one. It takes in over its 3-day weekend $146 million. That is absolutely fucking absurd. That is a huge, amazing number. That is just absolutely fantastic. In it over the 5-day weekend for a total domestic haul of $204 million off of a $100 million budget. So that is absolutely stellar right there. That is a fantastic opening. That is just what you fucking need right there. And it shows that's family movies coming back in a big way because outside of Minions last year, family movies and animated movies did not do too well. It's still a corner market that we're trying to get people back in theaters for. And it shows that if you put the right thing out there, people are going to show up for it. And the Super Mario Brothers movie is a movie that people absolutely showed up for. So Universal is just having an absolutely fantastic fucking year, especially with its Illumination animation department. It is just crushing all over. This is the second highest grossing weekend domestically for an animated movie of all time, behind only The Incredibles 2. We're going to get to another one later, but worldwide for Super Mario Brothers, this is the biggest weekend opening ever worldwide for an animated movie, beating Frozen 2 from 2019. So an absolutely stellar opening here for the Super Mario Brothers movie. And all eyes are going to be to see what its legs are now and to see how it does for the next few weeks before Guardians comes out, because this movie pretty much has all of April to just run rough shit. It is going to be the movie to beat this fucking month. But then we take a look and we have some really great holdover titles. John Wick Chapter 4 manages to hold second place. In its third week, drops 48.5%, takes in $14.6 million to bring its total domestic haul to $147 million off of a $100 million budget. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves in third place in its second week, dropped 61%. Not fantastic, but still managed to have a solid hold over there with 14.5 million, bringing its total domestic haul to 62 million off of a $150 million budget. So at least domestically, it still has a ways to go to make that budget back, but at least worldwide, it seems to be making up that deficit. Debuting in fourth place is the movie Air. Obviously, fourth place is not the spot that you want to debut, but over this weekend, it still managed to do a decent amount of money to make itself at least profitable here for a pretty solid weekend to put it on track to profitability. It opened with $14.4 million over the 3-day weekend for a 5-day total of $20 million off of a $90 million budget. So it's positioning itself nicely, if it has a little bit of legs, to make itself some money right there. And rounding out the top 5 is Scream 6 in its 5th week, dropping 37.9%, takes in $3.3 million, pushes itself over the $100 million mark. Domestic blockbuster here at $103 million off of a $35 million budget. We take a look at the back 5. We've got in 6th place His Only Son in its second week, dropping 40.9%, takes in $3.2 million to bring its total domestic haul to $11 million. Can't imagine this movie will be hanging around much longer now that Easter is over. In 7th place, we've got Creed 3 in its 6th week, drops 43.8% to take in $2.8 million to bring its total domestic haul to $153 million off of a $75 million budget. In 8th place, still holding on strong, just trying to get whatever it can before it's sucked out of the top 10, Shazam! Fury of the Gods in its 4th week drops another 65.3%. Dear God, it takes in $1.6 million to bring its total domestic haul to $56 million off of a $125 million budget. This movie is going to be the surefire bomb of 2023 so far. In 9th place, debuting here is Paint. It taken $750,000 off of a budget we have no idea about. It's a shame this movie did not really come out in a lot of theaters. Hopefully it gets a wider release as time goes on so that more eyes can get a chance to see what looks like an absolute cult classic right there. And rounding us out in the top 10 is 1001 in its second week, dropping the devilishly 66.6%. It takes in $600,000 to bring its total domestic haul to $2.9 million. Now, as always, we'd like to take a look at our fallen heroes. These are our heroes that did their time in the top 10 but have now bowed out for greener passages. We have 3 movies this week that have bowed out of the top 10. We take a look here at the chart. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania after 7 weeks on the chart bows out. Jesus Revolution after a very respectable 6 weeks on the chart bows out. And 65 after 4 weeks on the chart bows out. You guys did your time. You had your say. You made your money. But now it is time to say adieu to you, and we will see you on physical media. And as always, we salute you. Now, we'd like to take a look at our top 10 worldwide and domestic here in the 2023 realm. We have been holding off from looking at 2022s, but I'm actually finally going to take a look here. We are going to take a look one last time. This will be the final time that we will look at our 2022 top 10 worldwide and top 10 domestic, because Avatar: The Way of Water has finally bowed out of the charts. You couldn't see it anywhere in the charts, in the domestic or worldwide charts this week. So it is finally time to finally bid adieu to Avatar: The Way of Water, look at its final totals, see where it ended up, and we can finally say goodbye to 2022 and finally put those charts to rest. So for the last time, let us take a look at our top 10 worldwide for 2022. We take a look here at the chart. Avatar: The Way of Water obviously is ending in first place here for 2022 with a final total of $2.312 billion. That is absolutely just fucking staggering. That is an absolute win right there. This movie, not only one of the best for the year of 2022, but one of the best of all time. And then we take a look at our top 10 domestic for 2022. Avatar The Way of Water was not able to secure that first place. If you take a look here, it is going to finish for second place at $682 million, a ways off from Top Gun Maverick's $718 million. So even though Avatar The Way of Water was one of the biggest movies of all time, domestically here, it was still not enough to put a dent in the absolute fucking majesty that was Top Gun Maverick. And now we can finally say goodbye to those 2022 charts. It was good while you hang around. You hung around all the way into April because Avatar The Way of Water was just so fucking astronomically successful. But now we can finally put you to rest, and we can just take a look here now at our top 10 from 2023. And we're going to start with our top 10 worldwide. We're going to take a look here at this chart right now. In first place still is Full River Red with 673 million. Right behind it, The Wandering Earth 2 with 603 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania in third place with 473 million. Debuting on the chart in fourth place is the Super Mario Brothers movie with $377 million. That was good enough to make it the highest opening weekend of all time worldwide for an animated movie. Absolutely fantastic there. Rounding out the top five is John Wick Chapter 4 with 306 million. Creed 3 in sixth place with 267 million. Right behind that is Boonie Bears with 221 million, followed by Megan with 176 million. Scream 6 in ninth place with 158 million. And rounding us out in the 10th spot is Hidden Blade with 138 million. Knocked out of the top 10 is Deep Sea. We thank you for your service, and we will see you next time. We turn now to the top 10 domestic for 2023. Still holding strong in first place, but probably for only one more week, is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania with 212 million. The Super Mario Brothers movie debuts in the second spot with 204 million. Probably by the time this video is coming out, Super Mario Brothers will probably have already passed Ant-Man and the Wasp to become the highest grossing movie domestically of 2023. Creed 3 in third place with 153 million. John Wick Chapter 4 right behind it with 147 million. Scream 6 with 103 million. Megan with 95 million. Cocaine Bear with 64 million. Dungeons and Dragons with 62 million. Shazam Fury of the Gods with 56 million. And rounding out the top 10 is Jesus Revolution with 51 million. Super Mario Brothers debuting on the chart is good enough to knock out 80 for Brady from the top 10. It was fun while you lasted, Brady, but we'll see you next time. Now, a wonderful thing that this weekend gave us was 2 new movies to join the Blockbuster Status Club, and that is the club of movies that have made at least $100 million here domestically and are able to join our little illustrious group here. And 2 movies this week did it, one debuting and one finally reaching over that goalpost. We're going to take a look right now at this chart. If you look, we got it right down here, joining the 2023 Blockbuster Status chart. Right now, all the way at the top, you got Ant-Man and the Wasp, 202 million. Times 2, it has joined the Blockbuster Status chart. That means it is hit over 100 million. It's hit over 200 million. This is double the Blockbuster Status that you're looking for. And debuting at double the Blockbuster Status right here is the Super Mario Brothers movie with $204 million. Creed 3 right behind it with 153. John Wick Chapter 4 with 147. And finally, leaping over the $100 million mark to join the rest of the Blockbuster Status is Scream 6, now at $103 million domestically. It's now time to take a look at our top 10 chart riders for 2023. These are our movies that had the best legs here at the box office. We chart along with to see just how long they spend in the top 10. So at the end of the year, we can take a look and see what movies for 2023 had the best legs at the box office. We take a look here now at the chart. If we look all the way down in the 10th seed, we've got Cocaine Bear at 5 weeks. Knocked out at the bottom was Plane from 5 weeks. That one is now knocked out of the top 10. We've got Cocaine Bear in 10th with 5 weeks. Scream 6 with 5 weeks. Missing locked in at 6 weeks. Megan locked in at 6 weeks. Jesus Revolution, having now dropped out of the top 10 this week, is now also locked in at 6 weeks. Creed 3 still in the top 10 now in its 6th week. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania now locked in 7 weeks. I'm getting lost in my own sauce here. A Man Called Otto in 3rd place, locked in at 8 weeks. Puss in Boots in second place, locked in at 11 weeks, and Avatar: The Way of Water locked in at 12 weeks. It is going to be very wild to see if any movies in 2023 can actually reach the 11-week and 12-week status of Puss in Boots and Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, a chart that we can see come back is actually my 2023 top 10 bets. This was my bets for the top 10 worldwide movies of the year. So now with the debut of Super Mario Brothers entering into that chart, we can now take a look at this chart again and see just where everything's landing right now. We go here to the chart. As you can see, everything right now, these were my top 10 bets for the highest grossing movies worldwide of 2023. If you look, I sit in considering The Little Mermaid to be the #1 movie of the year. I don't know how well that's going to stack up right now. In second, I had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In third, I have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. In fourth, I have the Super Mario Brothers movie. And right now, if you look at that, you'll see a dollar sign next to it. The dollar sign means that I am right in that this movie is, as of right now, in the top 10 for the 2023. And it actually is in the 4th seed spot. So I actually have that one right on the money right now. We'll see if it ends up holding strong there. Rounding out that top 5, we have Fast X. We got the Marvels. We have Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I am right in that this movie is right now in the top 10, but it is currently in the 3rd seed, whereas I have it in the 8th. So we'll have to wait and see where that one shakes out by the end of the year. In 9th, I have Oppenheimer, and in 10th, I have Aquaman. At the beginning of the year, I was fairly confident about this list, and I am now already only 4 months into the year, not confident in it at all. It has been a wild ride so far for superhero movies, and it does not look like it is going to change much. I think I overestimated Aquaman, especially considering how Shazam is doing, especially seeing all the turmoil of DCEU. I am very not confident in my Aquaman call anymore. Ant-Man and the Wasp did not hold up to expectations. It is quite possible that if other movies end up shaking out and doing very well, that Ant-Man and the Wasp doesn't even make the top 10. Same thing goes for the Marvels, that they end up not doing nearly as well as I thought. The way The Little Mermaid's going right now, I mean, I'm still holding fairly confident that the movie's going to end up on the list. I don't know about #1 anymore because those trailers are just not fucking good for this movie. So, but I don't know. I don't know if it's still going to pull off like an Aladdin and a Lion King where it just has so much history behind it and it's just one of the mainstays of Disney that it ends up doing so well. I don't know. I'm not very confident in these movies anymore. I think the only superhero movie that's going to do well this year is Guardians. So I'm fairly confident with Guardians there. Fairly confident with Fast X. Fairly confident with Mission Impossible. Oppenheimer, I think, as well, and Indiana Jones. But these other ones, my God, I've never been so unsure of some movies ever before in my life. It is going to be very interesting to continue to see. And then we take a look here at our final list here. This is the movies that I expected to hit over 100 million here in domestic status, so that would hit the blockbuster status. If you see so far, I am 4 for 5. Ant-Man is totally on the money. Creed 3 on the money. Shazam, wildly off the balance. This movie is not going to get anywhere close to $100 million. Another one I was wrong that I didn't even have on this list was Scream 6. Did manage to hit the blockbuster status chart. John Wick Chapter 4, I was on the money. And Super Mario Brothers, I was on the money. The next movie coming out that we could see if it's going to join this list is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I am fairly confident will be joining this list. And that'll do it for this week here at the charts. I know it was a fairly quickly run through here, but as you can see and tell from my voice, I am just not in the zone to really be diving as hard into this as I would like to. But this was a stellar weekend here at the box office. Super Mario Brothers putting up an absolutely record-breaking performance. Fantastic to see. I can't wait to see what it's going to do for the rest of the month. This weekend it's forecasted to still do 65 million for in its second weekend. So that is still an absolutely just stellar. That's a second weekend that most people would love to get in their debut weekend. So Super Mario Brothers is going to run roughshed over freaking the rest of the month. And the only question now is, will it be a billion-dollar movie? I forecasted, even though I didn't show totals next to what I expected for the worldwide movies, I expect Super Mario Brothers to hit $1 billion. I think it's going to get, I would be shocked if it doesn't. It would just have to just completely run out of steam and just like hit headfirst into a wall to not. Like, it's already about to pass 400 million after 1 week. I think it's fairly safe to say that unless some like catastrophic thing happens, I think it's fairly certain that this movie is either going to cross the 1 billion mark or get so goddamn close to it you'll be able to smell it. So it's going to be interesting to watch those movies going forward. It's going to be interesting to see how Air holds over, and with all these other ones, if Dungeons and Dragons is going to be able to hit get over that initial budget for itself, if John Wick is going to be able to pass Chapter 3 to become the biggest one in its series. There is a lot of great lingering questions to look forward to here at the box office. And then with this upcoming weekend, we have four new movies coming out. You've got the big one, which is Universal, with their next mid-budget movie, looking to just continue that mid-budget claim with the release of Renfield. The Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Hoult vampire movie looks so much fun. I can't wait to go see that movie. The absolutely just terrible looking Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. It's going to be interesting to see if that even debuts in the top 10. It looks absolutely awful. There's an anime movie coming out called Suzume, I believe. I've never even heard of it, but I'm sure it'll do what the anime movies usually do. Has a nice stellar opening weekend, and then we never see or hear from it again. And then there is a fourth movie, a basketball movie that I can't remember the title of. Sweetwater, that's what it was called. About a Harlem Globetrotter. I'm sure that movie's going to do absolutely nothing because I've never even heard of it until this weekend with it coming out. But four big, huge titles coming in. None of them are going to even come close to sniffing around in Super Mario Brothers territory. I think Renfield has the best chance, but even that one is going to come nowhere near close. I think Renfield, even if it sniffs anywhere between 15 to $20 million, is a huge opening weekend for that. So hopefully it's able to take number two, but it's going to be just so great to watch. I love watching week over week and seeing how everything does, and it's going to be great to watch this upcoming weekend and just see all the movies duke it out again. But that'll do it for all of us here at the Outpost in this adventure. Until the next one, you have been you, I have been me. These are the movies that we love so much. And until next time, I'll see you at the movies.